Welcome back. As we earlier said, marking World Tourism Day, Marsa Alam, one of the most beautiful, charming locations in Egypt, will organize celebrations on September 20th till the 28th, and as many as 50 fine artists from 22 different countries will contribute to this beautiful carnival, which will be held in the Red Sea City under the auspices of the Ministry of Culture, the Culture Ministry's Fine Arts Department and Tourism Authority. And to shed more light on this very important event, we're very delighted to be having with us over the phone our prominent guest, Dr. Yehya Abdul, Counselor of Tourism to the Ministry of Tourism. Good morning, Dr. Abdul.
Good morning, Mr.
A good day to you, sir. Let us first talk about the World Tourism Day 2023. Let's give a quick definition about that day and when was it established?
Well, the United Nations World Tourism Organization really started in the 80s, 1980, to initiate, themes for every year. So for the past 43 years, we had different themes. We had sustainability, innovation, culture, and heritage. And this year, the theme is tourism and green investments, because we all know, the troubles that face our planet because of excess of energy and waste. And the tourism industry, has a great share of, airlines, and then the hospitality operations and lodging and tour operations as well. So that's why this year they target, most investments to go into green, to solar, to wind. So now we'll keep, our planet safe, and our products, will go for longer times and period, inshallah.
Right. Of course, this particular place we're talking about is one of the most beautiful, charming places in Egypt and all over the world, maybe. The coastal city of Marsa Alam. It's celebrating that particular day in a huge carnival that is visited by more than 50 fine artists. Talk to us about Marsa Alam first, and why it is being mentioned on top of the top world destinations that the must-visit destinations worldwide. Why Marsa Alam?
Really, Marsa Alam is an extremely exotic resort and beach destination. It has all the advantages and attractions, the aquatics, then the beaches, the silver sands, and then the chain of mountains with the Red Sea mountains that go all the way across the Red Sea western border of Egypt. And then we have as well, the adventurous tourism as well. We like to, climb the mountains and go on the safari, and then go further south, to Halayib and this area. So it's very rich. And, world media, they classify it as a must-see and the top destinations like the National Geographic and CNN and the World Travel Media worldwide. So the Ostraka group is an art group that's designed to promote art, culture, and enhance the travel as well, where there is over 50 painters and artists from 22 countries, and that they're going to be displaying and showcasing, their artwork and creativity. And they will be conducting workshops as well, for the visitors in this exotic year-round destination. And then part two, they will travel to Luxor to extend, their programs and showcase their artwork and mix with the visitors and hold workshops for children and visitors and locals as well.
Right. We're going to be discussing the Carnival, which is also one of the important events, especially at this time of the year where the weather is so beautiful. But let's focus over Marsa Alam as a distinguished place to visit, and a place where you can enjoy your time throughout the whole year, all season. It's not a seasonal destination, but an all-year destination for visitors from worldwide to visit. What distinguishes Marsa Alam as a place to visit, first of all, And why is it recorded or considered as one of the top destinations?
Well, Marsa Alam has been developed, over 30 years ago, and it was developed, on a very sound and professional basis. It had its own, air traffic access. It's a very sophisticated airport facilities, and it has its port. It has an excellent, relay of lodging and hotel and accommodation facilities. All the international brands are over there, the individual ones and the private ownerships as well. So as, an infrastructure, the resort is very sophisticated, and it's an excellent type of visitors who come from Asia, who come from Europe, worldwide. They love to spend long vacations in this exotic location. It's pristine waters, and it's a colorful food festival and attractions and entertainment. So it's a very pleasant location to spend your vacation year-round, and it has a beautiful weather year-round, It's so mild and dry, a little bit in the summer, but visitors, they love to come 2 or 3 times a year because they love and they have, a hang for this location that attracts them year-round.
Right. We totally understand that this is one of the most exotic locations, very attractive and beautiful. The weather is charming throughout the whole year, but also, honestly speaking, there are other places are equally beautiful and very distinguished also in some other sense in Egypt. I mean, because Egypt is very verified and different when it comes to different locations. I mean, each is distinguished in its own right. But why was Marsa Alam chosen?
Well, it's part, of course, like the developments of the tour operators and the hotel corporations and the airlines, because each destination in Egypt, especially the year-round resort one, like the Qader, Dahab, Sharm el-Sheikh, St. Catherine, all these resorts, they have network, of services and providers and a price range. So Marsa Alam comes on top of these destinations because it was developed professionally, and all basic and international services were provided with no shortage in any type. That's why visitors, they enjoy the comfort, the experience, the safaris, the adventure, the climate, the beach and aquatics, they practice the parasailing, the snorkeling, all the aquatics, and all those who are sport lovers, and adventure, they can find their hobbies and exotic adventures that will be served over the year-round.
Are there going to be any other side activities in some neighboring charming destinations beside Marsa Alam, and how things are going to go to be affected? I mean, the type of tourists that are going to visit, how is it going to work?
Well, we're talking about Marsa Alam because Ostraka is a local group that's interested in developing, the tourism and travel, attractions in the destination. That's why it was a great idea from the investors and developers to invite and attract, artists and painters and sculpture, worldwide. So we have over 50 of them. They represent over 25 countries. That's going to be there for a month, mixing with the visitors, the children, the families, and showcase, their creative artwork and conduct workshops. So it's a very entertaining experience for the visitors, and they will carry on. Part 2 will be in Luxor as well. So it's an individual, initiative, but of course, Ministry of Culture and the Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities are involved, and the governorate, in the Red Sea region. So it's a collective work to share with the whole world, the 27th of September, the World Tourism Day, as well as we know, tourism have a social, cultural, economic contribution to the local economy as well. So it's not all celebration and on the 27th of September, the whole global world leaders will be meeting in Riyadh. This is going to be the United Nations World Tourism Organization celebration for 2 days. And as we know, the contribution of world tourism is, valued at $10 trillion to the gross domestic products for the year 2023. So really, it's a great event for Egypt and worldwide as well.
Right. The Carnival is going to be an outstanding, exceptional activity, especially at this time of the year where other countries are suffering from tsunamis, the bad weather, and crisis everywhere. We're here, thanks to God, things are really shining and beautiful. So besides this carnival, how is that carnival going to help the people in the tourism industry prepare some good touristic plans for the visitors, sideline plans, probably to spend some time here and there, to have some programs, some things to see, some food to eat? I mean, are there any plans of that type that is being orchestrated by the Ministry of Tourism on the sidelines of this carnival?
Well, definitely yes, because, this is, an international event, it's not like a local one or a regional one. As I say, this is the World Tourism Day. We've been celebrating for 43 years, and each country in its own, capacity is providing attractions, and some of them, they give, discounts, and some of them they provide, some free access, for example, to the museums, and they have lower prices to make travel, and movement of visitors worldwide is more dynamic and more, accessible. So it's worldwide, and the tourism board, in Marsa Alam, is very keen as it, developed this art carnival, which is very creative and very colorful. They have special events, at the hotel and the restaurant, and all the attractions they have in the country.
Hello?
Yes.
Yes, Dr. Abdul.
So really, this is an international and local and regional event as well.
Right. So are there any, what is the role of the private sector? I mean, the private tourism industry. So any sideline activities that are being held before or after the carnival?
Yeah, it's not only, we're talking about, only Marsa Alam, but the whole country, in Egypt. I mean, encouraged and developed by the Ministry of Tourism and Culture and all, the associated, the parts of the government are promoting, the governors all over Egypt, especially in the nominated destinations, to make it, more accessible and make it more enjoyable for visitors, because as I already mentioned, it's not a national or regional event, but the whole world is participating. For example, a week ago, there was a meeting in Riyadh as well for the historical sites to be on the World Heritage List, and 47, locations worldwide has been, on this list again. So this is a great asset again for tourism, for antiquities, and for archaeology and history as well.
Right. Where do you see the role of the media and other sectors when it comes to an event like that? I mean, are there any collaboration between Ministry of Tourism and, the media, for example, and other sectors in the state, so that this could be organized on a huge foundation, a very solid foundation, and on a huge level?
It is, because as we all know, this is an annual event, and the United Nations World Tourism Organization, they get, invitations, and they send agendas, and they inform all the associated, like authorities and departments. For example, our Minister of Tourism is going to be in Riyadh, like next week to attend the world, leaders, convening for 2 days to participate in the World Tourism Day. So it's a global event, and governments motivated by the United Nations, departments and divisions to make it accessible and more enjoyable for visitors worldwide.
Right. How important is it to take advantage of activities like that or events like that and build on making touristic plans and creating new tours, programs for the visitors and things like that?
Well, visitors worldwide, that by this time of the year, like airlines, they can provide and offer, like reduced fares. Resorts can give, like 50% discounts on accommodation. Hospitality and tourist facilities, they will do the same as well. So this is, like an international and a global festival worldwide. That's all, like organizations, local, like regional, international, has to work to make travel and transportation, like more accessible and enjoyable, and promote travel, because this is like the fiesta, like for tourism on an annual basis.
Right. Of course, this particular activities, or let me call it carnivals, as it is being called, are a source of good venues for every country. How can we invest on things like that? We don't have to wait for World Tourism Day. We don't have to wait for special, significant, world renowned activities. We could create our own days. What's your intake about it?
This is quite right, because, like as you remember for the past, like summer season and the Red Sea region all the way from Dahab to Marsa Alam, they were having, like carnivals and dance and entertainment and art, and there was fruit shows, as you remember, like the strawberry, mango, and all the special, like produce of Egypt from excellent agriculture, like diverse fruits and attractions. They were being served, and it was very attractive, and it was promoted worldwide. So each destination in Egypt now having its own travel board, and they work on making, as we know, as you know, and we see worldwide the festival that they have in Italy, in Spain, in Poland, in the U.S., like in Asia. So each country, and in Greece and Cyprus as well, is making its location hospitable, because tourism and travel, is a human activity, and part of it is culture, education, and business as well. So that's why you have a mix of all this in Egypt on an annual basis.
Right. How can we classify? How could we classify an event like that? Is it a culture tourism? Is it a seasonal tourism where the weather is always beautiful? Is it a coastal tourism? I mean, how could it be taken advantage of or classified in the tourism programs?
Well, it's a global and international one, and this is really like an official one, because this has been, like initiated by the United Nations World Tourism Organization. So it's an official one, but it's a local one as well, because the UN, like advises governments to celebrate, to make it more accessible and enjoyable and safer for visitors. That's why, like 2 weeks ago, we had the World Heritage to make sure that there is more historical sites preserved and maintained and restored worldwide. Number one, there was 50 of them, like in Azerbaijan, in Guatemala, in Tunisia, and Uzbekistan, in Colorado, in the U.S. So this is number one, to preserve the historical sites that makes, like people go and travel thousands of miles to visit a destination. And number two, for the travel business, they will be convening, as I said, next week, like for 2 or 3 days to discuss the like prospects and targets of tourism for the upcoming years in Riyadh. This is a great celebration, and Egypt is one of the like leading associations and government bodies that's going to be involved into this and making the decisions for the region and on a global basis as well. So it's an official one, but of course it's part incorporated in the travel and tourism industry because, as I already said, this year we expect tourism to generate 10 trillion US dollars, like in the gross national domestic products on a global basis. So now it accounts for 10 to 15% of world economy. So this is something, we cannot neglect.
Right. Dr. Abdul, what type of tourists would love to attend carnivals at coastal cities or that type of events? I mean, can we classify the type of visitors, or this could be an open event for all types of tourists? Because as we all know that in the tourism industry, there are seasons for every type of tourists, so that we can create the specific program for the specific type of tourists. So in that
this is quite true because, as we know, we are moving now, like this is the end, of the summer and getting into the fall. And this is one of the nicest, like seasons that people don't like to enjoy and travel, Because, for example, like families will take, like children back to school. But at this time, like for senior citizens, there's going to be more room for travel on airlines, more discounted fares on cruises, on tourist destinations worldwide. So it's a different type of clientele. And travelers who, travel from September all the way until Christmas and the end of the year. But, like they know about this seasonality and, there's going to be, like excellent accommodation and tour packages. So, I mean, like internationally, they like to travel within this time because, like they're getting rid of the hot summers, like that was very unexpected, and getting into a more stable season, which is the fall, and getting into the winter, which is more, like predicted and enjoyable for many people.
Right. On that note, Dr. Yehya Abdul, the Counselor of Tourism to the Ministry of Tourism, would like to thank you so much. And we're going to go to a short break and we'll come to continue the breakfast show, so stay with us.